day of competition. Now on to Lise Levay. Let's see what she'll do here on the uneven bars. 18 years old from Burnaby, BC.
And this is a phenomenal crowd, so respectful of all of these Olympic contenders. You could hear a pin drop right now, allowing Lise to get the concentration under control. Lise is a veteran of this team. But she is in trouble right there, Teresa. What she needed to do was push back over top of the bar. And again, she cannot recover in time.
That is tough.
Now, she'll have 30 seconds to compose her thoughts. There's her coach, Nancy Byer. And I'm sure she's saying, come on, you can do this. Get right back to it. Within 30 seconds, she must mount the bars again. Now, you don't want to rush it. You want to take the full 30 seconds. Chalk your hands. Use the water if you have to. But now she will have to get down to business.
So Lise Levay now back up onto her routine.
She'll take the 5/10 deduction for the fall, but she'll also be deducted for missing the first element of her bar routine. She is back on track now, showed the judges 2 release moves already, but you can see she's struggling. Her swing doesn't have the beautiful natural flow that it normally does. Coach Nancy Byer steps in to help Lise with the Tkachev release. This is going to be a very disappointing effort for Lise. She is not going to be satisfied with this at all.
Did not stick the landing. I did not stick that performance.
Very uncharacteristic errors for Lise. She is known as the rock of this routine. You can see at that point, she should have pushed back over the top of the bar, comes down and actually hits her leg on the low bar. Tries it again, but again, on the wrong side of the bar, she cannot continue.
Well, the first day she was a 9.35, but now her combined total is an 8.95. And once again, a very tough break for Lise Levay as she puts it all on the line, looking for her spot and her ticket to Sydney. Now, this is quite the story. Crystal Gilmore coming in here, she really had a tough first day.
Well, you can see the score, 7.6. That has no reflection on Crystal's ability. She's actually fantastic on bars. But she suffered a devastating fall on her dismount and was lucky not to injure herself. So this is an athlete with a lot on her mind right now.
There was a hush that came over the gym when she fell. She literally fell right on her face. And they went over quickly to see if she was all right. And the true competitor that she was, she went and collected herself. And today, here she is. The eye of the tiger here today, Carol Angela, because she's got to recoup from what happened to her yesterday.
And look at her, what a fighter. There are so many intricate elements in her bar routine, but this is the one. This is where she slipped. You see, Velati, he steps in to assist her. You don't often see a coach assist on a dismount, but I think today that is prudent and a very good precaution to take. Here's her release move, giant full to immediate Tkachev, showing tremendous confidence after her problems on day 1.
Crystal Gilmore putting it all together and saying, oh, I'm so glad that's over with. But with the first day, her combined total of an 8.28 is not very good, but a hug from Yvonne Tusek as well. Now on to Kate Richardson from Coquitlam, BC. She's had a few hurdles to overcome as she traveled from across Canada.
For the first 2 days that we're here, Kate was having a bit of a hard time adjusting to the equipment. Plus, she's only one of 2 athletes who are adjusting to the time difference. So I know it always takes us some time to adapt. So over the 2 days, Kate was climbing, but I wasn't quite sure if she was going to be as good as she needed to be. And then yesterday, she just got her head down and figured everything out, and it just worked.
Oh, has it ever worked for Kate Richardson? We were talking, Carol Angela, she was to be the future, but now she's saying no, the time is now. She's taking this competition by storm.
The time is now, and that time difference between Vancouver and Toronto is very real and definitely has an impact on performance. Only Lise and Kate have to deal with that disadvantage, but it's nice to know she can heading over to Sydney, where the time difference is drastic. But Kate has really worked hard on this event. Her line is so beautiful, and Teresa, we're going to see that specifically on her dismount. She too does a double layout. Some of the athletes arch it slightly, some of them pike it slightly, but watch Kate's body line. Sheer perfection, that truly is a layout.
Kate Richardson immediately looking to her coach, David Kenwright, and he says, "Oh, you did good."
She certainly did, and the only execution error you could possibly find is right here. Legs come apart slightly on the Gienger release move, but there's so much force when you're trying to twist and flip and catch that bar.
So Kate Richardson, her combined total of 9,605 is going to put her off and running on this day 2 of the JVC Women's Artistic Gymnastic Trials on TSN. We will be back with the beam, the hardest event at this competition, right after this.
To represent Canada at the Olympics, that would just be amazing. I mean, that's everybody in sports' dream, basically. It's a chance of a lifetime. And that would just be so cool, like, to walk in on the Canadian flag at opening ceremonies and compete for your country. That'd be amazing.
And she is on track to realize that dream, but so too is Emily Fournier. She's got her eye on Sydney. But Carol Angela, she really had a tough day of the beam yesterday.
And you know that has to be on her mind right now. Talk about pressure. Beam is the psychological event at every competition. But here at Seneca College, at the Olympic trials, double that, triple that. She is handling it extremely well. That is a 3-element tumbling line. The judges love to see that. Shows a lot of ability, a lot of control.
It's incredible what they do when you think that that beam is, what is it, 3 inches wide?
4 inches wide.
4.
10 centimeters for the metric group. But you know what really impresses me about how she's going through this routine right now is the format of this competition. The national coach, Andrei Rodionenko, wanted this one athlete at a time, one event at a time. So all eyes are truly on Emily. There's nowhere to hide right now. No other event is occurring at this moment. Just Emily and the balance beam.
Well, we mentioned it's a sellout crowd here. Oh, she hangs on.
Now, some of her connections are not absolutely steady, not absolutely together, but she is surviving this beam routine quite well.
She's a very good vaulter, but really starting to realize her potential now in all 4 events, and this is very important for her as she gets ready for her dismount.
Easy for her. Round up, double back, an excellent tumbler. She survived it, and I'm sure she's quite relieved.
And yes, she gets the hug from Francine Dufard, her coach.
Back handspring, layout, back handspring. Shows tremendous stability, no hesitation at all.
She did an 8.725 on the first day of competition. An 8.985 will be her combined total. Now look at Lise LeVay. Had a tough time on the uneven bars, but now it's on to the beam, and her coach Nancy Beyer told us what she expects.
Well, I think she needs to do a repeat performance of what she did yesterday on the bars. Her balance beam, I know she can do it a little better. She made a few mistakes, small, but her reputation is to be the best on the beam, and I think she can do that.
So here is Lise LeVay as she tries to recover from not doing well on the uneven bars. Here she is on beam. Her score from the first day, a 9.15.
And she's known as the rock on this team. She's trusted by the national coach to start Canada off on balance beam, the toughest event of all, at every international competition. And she always does it right for the team. But now, Teresa, she's in a different place, a place she's never been before. She doesn't even know if she's on this Olympic team yet. And after a disastrous bar routine, one would think that doubt would begin to creep in.
As a coach, Carol Angela, which you are, you're going to the Olympics in Sydney, what would your advice be to an athlete that tries to overcome something that happens to them in competition?
You immediately want them to begin to focus on the task at hand. And that's what these athletes learn to do so well. Lise is incredibly bright. She has a full scholarship. She's going to Stanford right after Sydney Olympics, should she make this team. And she knows how to put her problems behind her. This sport is so technical that you have to have phenomenal concentration ability. And you can see it right here. From a disastrous bar routine to a fairly solid beam routine. Under pressure like most will never experience. There's the bell. She has 10 seconds to dismount. No problem there.
Well, she's known as the rock. She is consistent. She is the go-to gymnast, but a small problem here.
Well, if you know Lise as well as most of us do, this is a big problem for Lise. But most athletes would have jumped off at that point. Not Lise. Tremendous experience and a lot of determination.